I really want to go as a fan.
I want to be a
time.
fan. I want to play games.
Yeah.
And we succeeded.
Hey everybody, what is up? My name is Mackenzie.
And I'm Jonathan.
We are husband and wife, and we'd like to welcome you to TerreDice.
And today we're recapping PAX Unplugged, which is a convention we went to in Philadelphia this past weekend.
Yeah, so PAX sounds familiar. It is a huge video game convention across the country, but PAX Unplugged is specifically board games. And this is our collection that we picked up at PAX Unplugged this year. This was our second time going this year, so I'm excited to tell you guys about all of that. We also got to see lots of really cool announcements that were happening, and excited to say about that and different events and just of our experience at PAX this year versus last year. This was also our first time going with a baby, little Charlotte. So if you want to know what it's like to travel with a baby to PAX or what exactly we did, maybe you can get some tips if you're going to do that in the future. This is also an exciting event because this was probably our last convention before Bark Avenue, our own board game, will be featured at conventions, which is really exciting. But PAX itself was more like kind of like a, I don't know, Jonathan said, I really want to go as a fan.
I want to be a fan. I want to play games.
Yeah.
And we succeeded.
And I almost forgot, in addition to everything I just said, we're going to be doing a Flourish giveaway by Starling Games, and because they were giving Flourish away to all the content creators out there, and so we were able to pick up a copy. We already have one, so we want to be able to pass it on to all of you. And fun fact, the artist that did the box cover and lots of the art in the game, she actually is the dog artist for our game, Bark Avenue. So I was actually playing it. I was looking for a dog artist and I was playing Flourish, and there's this beautiful dog card in the game. And I was like, who did this? I need her or him to do our art for Bark Avenue. And it was April Borchelt. And I contacted her and she was willing to do it. And so that was just like a fun designer tip.
We really like Flourish. Yeah, we're keeping our copy. But
we're keeping it.
We have a brand new and shrink copy to give away on this channel. We'll talk about that at the end
Beautiful
of the
art. Okay. So, if that sounds like something you want to see, then just keep watching. So, there are several big board game conventions in the United States and the world throughout the year. Gen Con, which happens in August, is the biggest American one that takes place. And I would say PAX is the second biggest in the US.
Yeah, probably.
So, lots of the games were released at Gen Con this year. So, Jonathan already had seen some of them, but there were some stragglers and some new ones also coming in at PAX.
And crazy some shipping stuff.
Yeah, and some that we didn't get a chance to check out at Gen Con because there's just so much going on, so we really got to really dive deep into the PAX one. And some were released over at Essen too, so we finally got to see those, which took place in October. So we got to see those at PAX this year. That is in essence what PAX is. It's a little less buying, I would say, than Gen Con. So it's more about playing, like lots of demos going on. You get to sit down and really get to play like a full game.
Yes, that's the big thing. The demos are full games.
Yeah.
If you sit at a table at Gen Con, they get you in and out in 5 minutes. It's like, all right, you played 2 turns and get out of here so I can show somebody else.
Yeah. So they really let you sit down, and the table is yours a lot. Yeah.
They have the game library too.
Yes. So the game library is what do they call it? It's
the game library.
Okay. No. I meant how the first look, how they have games.
Oh, they have that too.
Yeah.
The first look is this whole area where they'll show games for the first time, and they just leave them out, and you can just touch them and play them. And they also had a whole, in the first look section, they had a ton of European games and just publishers around the world who didn't get published in the US yet, which I thought was cool.
So our friend Ross, he's one of the designers of Woodcraft. That was over on the first look. Shout out to Ross. And Woodcraft is great. But that was over there, even though it wasn't at the convention officially, you still got to play it. So I thought that was really cool.
The game library though, I really like because it's 1,000 games that you just walk down and pick up a game or two, and you check them out with your badge, and then you can bring them back later. And you can just play anything, and they have this huge open play area with just thousands.
It's pretty much almost as big as the hall, where the booths are itself. And this was something it's only at a board game convention would this happen. There are like a lot of people there, and like I walk in and I'm immediately like, wow, it's so quiet. I had my back turned to the play area. I'm like, it's so quiet. I guess there's like not a lot of people here. There's like a murmur of the crowd, and I turn around and there's like so many people. Only in board games with like that many people, and everyone's just quiet playing their moves, and everyone's like focused. It was bizarre. Yeah, but it was really cool to see. So before we dive into games, I want to talk about some exciting announcements that were happened. So we got there, and My Lil Everdell is out. This was a big surprise. No one saw this coming. This was their big reveal at PAX, and they ended up kind of being like, I don't know if they were the sponsor, but Everdell was everywhere at the convention. It was really exciting. And what was really exciting was that we actually knew about this like a couple days before.
For like a week and a half before the convention.
Because as a surprise, they sent it to us, and we didn't know what we was getting. We'd never even heard that this was coming out. They kept it really under wraps. And you opened the box, and it said do not tell, top secret. Yeah, so that was really exciting.
Yeah. So and you might have seen last Friday I released a YouTube short on like just how to play. We are going to be covering this in more detail, I think, in the future.
Yeah.
That was also my first attempt at a YouTube short. It was kind of rough, but we're going to try to do more shorts in the future. Let us know if you like shorts, like what kind of shorts you want to see.
So this ended up being like great timing. I know it seemed like perfectly timed out that we did our big Everdell collection giveaway, and then it just happened that while we were at Gen Con, at PAX, they released My Lil Everdell, and we got to announce the winner into the tree. None of this was planned. We didn't think that was gonna. It just like really timed out well. So if you thought that was planned, we're great. Yeah. So some other big announcements. There was a Gloomhaven RPG that was announced.
Yes, that was.
So you know more about that one?
Yeah. So also Frosthaven. They actually had copies of Frosthaven.
Yeah,
you could buy it at the booth. So that was the first big thing. People were like, whoa, I can buy Frosthaven. The second big thing was they announced the new Gloomhaven role-playing game. So they had a whole big event for it. They even played a couple like rounds of it. And essentially they were like, this is coming soon. We don't know a whole lot more than that. They're going to start posting on the Kickstarter more updates.
Yep.
We also went to a live show of This Game is Broken, which had Matthew Jude and then the brothers Murph and Paula Deming. And it was super fun. It was really silly, and one of the brothers sided with the audience, and then the other was with Paula, and it was a good time.
There were like several content shows going on, and I know Shut Up and Sit Down was there as well. And then we got to meet Rodney Smith after that show,
was cool.
And that is awesome. So that was pretty cool.
Okay, so I got my list now because we're going to talk about the games, and I don't want to forget any. But these are the games that we brought back with us. I'm going to talk about the ones we've played, and then the ones that just like really caught our eyes from the short demos that we also picked up. But first off is My Lil Everdell. So technically this came in the mail shortly before the convention, but it was a big release at PAX. It is a younger sort of target audience version of Everdell, where it really streamlines the mechanics. So that you only got 3 workers, you got to place them every round, and it's like 12 rounds and the game's over. And it's super, super, super streamlined. And I definitely recommend it if you're having trouble introducing people to Everdell. Because it keeps so much of that core that's so charming, and then so much of the interesting card mechanics, but it just kind of like stripped away a lot of the other complexities that make it more punishing if one player knows what's going on a lot more than the others.
I have not played it yet, so I'm excited to check it out.
Yeah.
Now, I think it's important to note, several of these are review copies, so they were given to us to review, but we are very picky when it comes to what we're going to pick up.
That's a good
so
point.
We cull over, they like show us what they have, and we cull over and think what's best for us, what's best for you guys. So I just wanted to note that some of these, we didn't buy all of these, some of these were given to us, but we'll know which ones those are. But we all the ones that were given to us, we picked them because we thought you'd like them.
Yes,
so, okay.
Absolutely.
All right,
it's very important. Cool, Beer and Bread. So this is a 2-player game that I've been excited about for like months. I talked about it in a previous video.
Yes.
But it's like kind of like Viticulture Duel. It's like a 2-player like farming game with like you're fulfilling these like orders for beer and bread, and you're trying to basically you score the lowest of the 2. It has some very interesting mechanics around. There's these fruitful years and then these dry years where the round structure changes. You're passing your hand back and forth, and then you're harvesting and you're using the cards that you played the last round.
Yeah.
It's very cool. It has a lot of like fun little kind of gotchas, and it's like 30 minutes. It's super nice.
And I know what a lot of people are gonna say, Mackenzie, it's a farming game, so do you like? But I like it. Yeah, so we played it. We played this right before we filmed. And I like it. Jonathan's like, I think this is a farming game you're actually going to like. And it's mostly because it is similar to the filling orders of viticulture and stuff, and also the graphic design is just so brilliantly done. So I'm always a sucker for when the art plays into the mechanics, and it's the same artist that did Robin Hood. So
Michael
I really
Menzel.
like it. Yeah,
and it's designed by Scott Alms, who did all the Tiny Epic games.
Yeah, so this is a farming game. If you struggle with farming games like I do, I did enjoy Beer and Bread.
Awesome.
Okay. All right.
Next, we got an Unmatched expansion. So Houdini versus the Genie, and they're really wacky. This is not your first expansion you should get. But Houdini, whenever he boosts cards, he has boost bonuses, which is pretty cool. And then the Genie just gets like a million extra actions. So he's just like flying all over the board.
And there's a funny thing about Houdini versus the Genie. Jonathan thought the Genie was weak because he lost to one of his friends playing it. Yeah. And then so he played against the guy who won the big tournament of Unmatched. And Jonathan's like, well, I think this is unbalanced, so I'm gonna play Houdini. And the other guy beat him in like two turns.
I got one hit off on him.
So I think it's balanced. I think Jonathan just didn't play that well.
I'm just terrible. Cool. Okay, next we got Dogfight.
Oh, we paid for this one. Beer and Bread and Houdini.
Yeah.
All right,
Dogfight. Roll this guys in 20 minutes. So we've talked about Caesar and Blitzkrieg, which are from this 20-minute series, and we've done our best board games for couples.
Yeah.
But Dogfight is their newest one. This was the biggest surprise to me at the convention because I thought this was coming out in like March, April. I had it like grayed out at the bottom, like, it's probably not coming. But there it was. So I picked it up. You're these like biplanes and like World War One, two.
Looks like one.
Yep, one. And basically you are spiraling and spinning over this like field trying to shoot down the other plane. And you can choose which plane to use. And they all have different powers. But it's super simple game where like you play tokens simultaneously and you try to get behind the other one and shoot them down. It's super cool. Nice and light. Like you're not gonna play this for more than 10 minutes. And it's just kind of like a fun little like game to pull out.
I haven't played it yet, but I do like the 20-minute series, so I'm sure I will like this one as well.
Sweet! Next up we got Clank Catacombs. Okay, so full disclosure, I have never played a Clank game before this one.
Never played a Clank game.
So, I mean, I always thought they were cool, but I'm like, yeah, deck builders, I play deck builders. But I walked up to it and I went, wow, that is very boy. It is like dungeons and
skeletons. It's also generic fantasy, which you normally aren't a fan of.
I even mentioned that in a recent video. And I was just like, I passed on it. But I was standing in line behind this guy while I was buying a pretzel, and he was like, I was like, is that a standalone game or an expansion? He's like, no, it's standalone, and they changed it. It's cool. You explore tiles. And so I was like, oh, maybe I'll like go check it out more. And one of my friends got it. And so that night we played it 3-player, and oh my goodness gracious, it is so much fun. I cannot wait for the next play of this game. It's like your movement system is like Dominion, so you're like deck building and then you just dump all your cards, buy stuff, and then like move around. But yeah, basically like the point of this game is that you are trying to like run around this dungeon hoarding as much treasure as you possibly can, but you're like slamming into walls and like knocking down skeletons, and every time you clank, you make noise. And if the dragon comes and hits you, you're gonna like die. And so you're trying to get as much treasure as you can before the dragon kills you and get out of the catacombs.
So I didn't play this one either. And the reason that I'm saying that for a lot of these games is that Jonathan got a little alone time in the convention, which is why some games might have been picked up that like he's like, because I'm gonna pick up Clank and you're gonna have to pry it out of my cold dead hands if you don't let me buy it. So yeah, I was dealing with a baby sometimes, so that's why some of these I haven't played.
I bought 4 games, 5 maybe.
Yeah,
it wasn't too many.
You had self-control.
Yes. Yeah.
All right.
Sweet. Next up, we got the ButtonShy Games. So this is another one we're counting because they were at the convention, but it was actually in the mail when we got home. So if you're not familiar with the ButtonShy, they're these little like micro games, 18 card wallets. I played Sprawlopolis while we were there at the convention. Basically, you're building this like little city, and it's a co-op, and you're trying to score points that beat these sort of like goals at the top that change the rules of the game. Really, really interesting little game. Burned my brain. We lost hard, so we're gonna have to play it again and see how it goes. But they had a booth at the convention that was so cute. It was like a lemonade stand with like a little wood sign. They have a brand new game, Battle Crest, that is coming out soon. So this is actually going to have a full review on our channel. We'll be talking about this. And then we'll be sure to cover the other ones.
I'm excited to dive into the ButtonShy because I've never played any of their games, and I think the concept is really cute that you can have like games in your wallet basically. While we were there, I picked up Panorama, which is a game that Starling Games has, and I had played this before. My friend Jacqueline showed it to me, and I just saw it, and I really had a good experience with it, so I wanted to just pick this up. So this was a little gift to myself. It's a game where you're making a panorama with the person sitting next to you. You're trying to make a beautiful panorama, and you're trying to work with the other person sitting next to you working on another one. And then you score points based on the one that does the best or the least. I have to play it again, but I do enjoy this, and the art was really pretty, and you get really nice pictures at the end. So Panorama.
All right, something not pictured here that we did end up getting is Klask. So this is this like magnetic like air hockey game where you're trying to knock the ball into the goal at the other end, but there's also these other little magnets that if you can knock them onto the other player's piece, you can score that way as well. So it's really, really cute little like air hockey game, super fun. So that went to my parents' house, and
which it was supposed to be for Christmas, but they've already opened it, and his little sister loves it, so it's already a big hit in the house. Another one we picked up that was given to us when we entered the convention was Flourish, which we talked about before, but we'll be giving this copy away on our channel. But it's this beautiful set collection game where you're picking up different types of flowers and you're basically trying to have the most like beautiful garden and different flowers and different trees that were at different points.
An interesting mechanic of passing cards to the players across from you.
And you pass like cards to the person next to you, so you have like you're kind of looking over into their garden and trying to pass them. You want cards that you want to stay in your hand, but then you also don't want to give them really powerful cards that they need. But then sometimes you do, because sometimes you are scoring points based on what they have in their garden. So
really good card game. Yeah. It's got a bunch of other cardboard pieces in there, but even I just almost wish it was like this little box card game, because the card play is so good.
You do get a lot of stuff in this box, even though I don't know if it's unnecessary for the gameplay, but it's designed by the same designer plus his wife Clarissa that did Everdell. So it's a really sweet, and it's our artist, so we're fans of it.
Okay, so our next category is games that we haven't played, but we saw demos of, or at least saw a few turns played, and we're like, yeah, we want that on our table.
And this is where review copies are coming in. So there most likely will be, lots of these are going to be having full reviews coming out in the future.
Yeah, cool. So we're starting off with the wolves.
All right, Mandosaurus, let's go.
Sweet. So this is a area control game where you are packs of wolves trying to like take over territories. The really interesting thing about this game is that each wolf kind of specializes in like, I'm the frost wolf and I'm the forest wolf. And when you move into territories, you're limiting your ability to move into those territories in the future. So it's got kind of this like interesting like tile flipping system that's going on. I really liked it. It's also just one of those games where you've got simple actions that lead to complex decisions. And that's always a good trade-off. Pandasaurus number 2 up there is Orichalcum. So this is a Bruno Catala game, hot designer, where you are laying tiles trying to build this sort of like map out, and then there's
hot designer as in he's a good designer.
Yes, that's what I meant. But there's like titans and you're building temples on top of your spaces. It looks super fun. Honestly, it was one that surprised me. It was not on my radar. And then I walked over and I was like, that looks pretty fun. So I'm very excited to try that out.
When we were over at the Czech Games booth, they're responsible for like Codenames and Galaxy Trucker, lots of famous games. They are releasing a Starship Captains, which has like a very like Star Trek theme. Is really cute. Yeah.
So it's like basically you have a crew and you're moving your ship around the galaxy, completing different missions, dropping people off, like doing contract fulfillment type stuff. And then you have like basically your crew, which you can use every turn to do different kinds of navigation, get you past the baddies in space. And then the kind of fun thing that you have on your board is you have this little like people mover that you like push the people down. It feels like a Wall-E like conveyor belt. But yeah, it seems really, really interesting. I also like the playtime. We're gonna be able to play it in under an hour, which I think is good. And we were told it plays especially well at 2.
That's what I was about to say. They said it plays really well at 2. I was just thinking you get a lot of value for your money because this thing was heavy to pick up.
Yeah,
it's heavy. Another one that Czech Games has done is Lost Ruins of Arnak, which probably falls in the lines of probably difficulty level as Starship Captains, so they're really good at that level of game as well. Okay, this was one Jonathan was dying to pick up. So if you are a fan of Root, this is done by the same publisher, and we have Ahoy over here, pirate-themed game.
Yeah. So this is another asymmetric game, which means like all the players are trying to do different things from each other.
That's what I was trying to form in my head.
What I liked about it is that it's lighter than Root, so it's a lot more likely to hit the table. And then it's supposed to work pretty well for 2-player. So I'm excited to try that because Root is definitely not a 2-player game.
Yeah.
I think this game's going to benefit from being 3 or 4-player, but it will play 2-player well. So I'm excited for us to be able to like dive in and just look at Kyle Farron's art more because I just love their art style.
I was going to say, I really like how he does animals and just be able to, like, it's really cute.
We got one more thing from Pandasaurus actually, and that is the expansion for Sobek, 2 players. So we don't have our copy of Sobek yet. It's caught up in a Game Nerds pre-order. But essentially it is this like 2-player game where you're moving this like Ankh around the board, trying to get these resources. The really interesting thing is this is one of those games where you try to box your opponent out or force them to take things that they necessarily don't want, while simultaneously trying to get things you want. And I just love that kind of tight decision making. This is a game that I like briefly tried out at Gen Con, thought it was super fun, so I'm excited to get our hands on it.
Next, we have On Tour, Paris and New York. Now, technically, this just arrived in the mail. We didn't pick it up. From Kickstarter, but it was very popular at PAX, and a lot of people were talking about it, so we're counting it. So it is a roll and write by Board Game Tables, and I love the stuff that they do over there. So if that sounds familiar, yes, it's always so pretty. Yeah, it's a lot of like great place to like try and play and demo. They did Kabuto Sumo, they did Bites, they have a lot of small box games. Ghost to Christmas is them. They did Sequoia, they did Mountain Goats. So I am a big fan of Board Game Tables. Their graphic design is always beautiful. So I am excited to check out On Tour, Paris and New York. One, because we live in New York and I love them. Hickory Dickory Dock, the mouse turns up the clock. Okay, so this was a game by Plaid Hat Games that Hickory Dickory is the name of the game, and we pre-ordered it. So it is this beautiful game. I think I got some B-roll, which I'll show here, of this wooden clock of like these mice that like you put into it and it goes up the...
Basically like the clock hand is moving and you jump your mouse off wherever you want to like get stuff. And so mice can like line up on the clock hand and ride it to their destination.
Yeah, thematically it's so cute.
Yeah, and then you're kind of like set collecting and collecting these resources that you need.
Yeah, we didn't get to sit down and demo it because the line was so long too, and it was like very popular. But I can't wait to be able to play this one. It looks very, very thematic. So
also
huge points for me.
Elf Creek Games is coming out with a game called The Clocks of Hickory Docks. What are the odds of that?
It's just like weird energy in the universe that everyone wants to do the Hickory Dickory Dock theme. So I'm excited to compare and contrast those. Compare and contrast, not compare and contrast. Trash? Yes.
Not trash.
Not trash.
Hopefully.
Those 2 games. So, and another one we picked up was the one I picked, and that is called Catapult. And
Catapult Feud.
Catapult Feud, and it is a fun game where you're literally just building up these little mini castles, and you're taking little catapults, like actual catapults, and like flinging a ball across it, the cannonball across it, and trying to knock over their castle. So it's a very tactile game that I'm excited. They actually sold out of the base game at PAX, otherwise I would have gotten it there. So I ordered it, and there's a new expansion as well. So I think it just looks like a fun game to be able to go back and forth. We might have to do a tournament, maybe on the channel or something. Or it'll be fun. So we got the opportunity to demo several games that are going to be coming out soon. So we want to give a shout out to some of those. And Kids Table Board Gaming is currently doing Maple Valley.
And the spin-off to Creature Comforts.
Yes, and that looks really cute. It's currently running on Kickstarter. I think the day this releases, the day tomorrow.
Go look right now. It's coming out tomorrow.
Yes. So we got to demo it and take a look at it, and it's done really cutely. Yeah, and people said that they said it plays a lot snappier and faster than Creature Comforts.
Yes, it does. Yeah, so if you got like AP or you got players who are younger trying to figure things out, essentially like the big changes, you've got your single worker that you're moving around the board on these paths, and you can stop along the paths at the place you want to go. It's still got the same gorgeous art that we just love from Creature Comforts. We haven't actually talked about it on this channel, but we really did love our play of that. We've talked about other games by them. Their graphic design department is like out of this world. Wreck Raiders was a game we called out previously, but we've also been big fans of Follow the Mountain King from Burnt Island Games. They're like sort of meteor crunchier line. Just an exquisite game. So much fun.
At Gen Con, I think, is where we discovered this, and it's totally up our alley. And I think a lot of you guys, too, would really enjoy Kids Tables line. We also got to play a whole game of Power Plants.
I really liked that game.
I really like Power Plants. It was available for pre-order, and I really enjoy it. It's where you're in a garden of magical plants, and there's this wizard, and you're trying to send out, is it fairies?
You're basically trying to like battle for control of the garden. So you send out these fairies and poof, poof, poof.
Yeah, and different plants do different things. You can either do like one plant's major power, or the 3 plants that you're surrounded by their minor power. So I really enjoyed it. It's very snappy. Area control, which normally I'm not a big fan of, but it goes so fast, and you don't feel
and it's got that kind of like Calico Cascadia like tile placement. Like you got the draw bag and you got the 2 tiles, you place one, it gives you power, and then you draw a tile to replace. So it's kind of fun.
I also want to shout out an indie company that I saw, because I went around the back booth and was looking around at different things, and Last Night Games, I think is the name of the publisher, but they recently did the Chameleon game, but I saw that they're in pre-orders for The Finest Fish, and it just looks adorable. There's all these, like, everyone gets their own fish. It gave me like Calico vibes, of where like a simpler Calico maybe, where you're trying to get, I didn't get to play it, but it just looks so fun. I get tiles, like their scales, like patterns close together and similar patterns, and so I'm excited to be able to check that one out soon. So big shout out to them.
That'd be a good one. Ooh, also the Shivers. So we finally got to see that in person. The pop-up board of mystery, like you're solving these mysteries. There's a bunch of cards you can swap out. 6 rooms in the base game, I think. So lots of configurability.
Yeah, and I got to talk to the designer. He was working at the booth, and he showed me the original pop-ups that he did 4 years ago with cool. paper. So he showed me what it looked like then, and then what it looks like now, and it's beautiful. It is like a work of art, and if you want a fun game to play with your friends, or to play with kids too, because everything you pull is just done so well. If you like pop-up books,
super interactive,
really nice.
Yeah. Cool. Next up, we saw Deep Dive by Flat Out Games. So they were the designers who brought you Calico, Cascadia, and Verdant, and Fit to Print coming soon. We'll be back to that. We're excited about that. But their next game that they're working on is called Deep Dive. You are penguins pushing your luck to like try and go eat as much fish and stuff as you can, and basically you're set collecting all your shrimp and fish. And eventually you might run into sharks and stuff, and so you're trying to avoid danger. And so it seems really, really cute and interesting. I'm curious to hear more. It's definitely in early development, but we've loved the stuff that this design studio has put out previously. So excited to see what Flat Out's got next. I just want to call out one more game that I just thought looked interesting. So Burn Cycle is this game that has these neoprene mats for the player boards and the main board. And the player boards had cutouts in them. So it was essentially like a dual layer board, but it was like a neoprene mat, like a mouse pad or like a game mat or something like that. And then the buildings kind of looked like felt or something. And the pieces were like poker chips, which just like, it looked like a very tactile, just pleasing experience. So I just love when there's innovative stuff, and I've never seen a dual layer game mat before. So
yeah, I think maybe it's the future. I don't know. Yeah. Maybe like things will go toward that way. Is it neat to see something different? So we went to PAX Unplugged with our 2-month-old daughter, which kind of sounds crazy, and a little bit was crazy. It is crazy, but we really wanted to go, and I wasn't gonna let it hold me back. And I was like, this is like a good time to go, and it worked out really well that Grandma Jonathan's mom was able to come with us and stay in the hotel and work with Charlotte, our daughter. She did not go into the convention, but we just wanted to keep her safe, and so but they did let her go right up to the door. So I was able to come out and feed her, and then sometimes go back to the hotel. One tip we did do, we were able to get the hotel that is the Marriott that's attached to the Philadelphia, Pennsylvania Convention Center via Skybridge. So they were able to just go back and forth, and I was able to go back and forth without going outside.
We never had to go outside. Yeah, that was a big, but we were only there 2 nights, and we also, because we live in New York, we just had to take the train there. So really the hotel was our only expense. That was the main thing.
So the hotel is where we put our money. But it ended up being so nice because we still got to do that. I got to do PAX and be with her, so that was great. And she's already been thrown in to be a future board gamer, but already in the conventions young.
She had her own badge and everything.
But yeah, so I think the name of the game, if you're going with kids, is just being flexible. Like you're just gonna have to roll the punches with what they need, and know that you'll get to play games, you'll get to go around and do stuff, but you just need to focus. Like, what if they need you need to do that, and maybe bring someone that is willing to swap out with you. There were times that Jonathan and I swapped places. So I think that is helpful as well. And just so everyone knows, there is a breastfeeding station that is right outside the hall, so that was convenient as well. So details on our giveaway of Flourish. We will be giving away the brand new instant copy of Flourish, and that contest is going to be ending on December 16th. And all you need to do...
we want to get it to you in time for Christmas.
Yes, we want to get it to you in time for Christmas, so that will be the end of December 16th. And the way you can enter is, all you got to do is be subscribed to our channel, and then leave a comment down below.
And be in the U.S.
And be in the U.S. And leave a comment down below telling us your favorite flower. So again, it's going till December 16th. You have to be subscribed to our channel, have an address in the U.S., and tell us your favorite flower down below. And we can't wait to be able to share this game with you, and so you can be able to enjoy it as much as we do. All right, guys, that is our recap of PAX Unplugged. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you were over there, I hope you had a great time. And I hope if you haven't been before and you're thinking about going, I hope we were able to share a little light on what it's like. We really enjoyed covering it, and we really had a great time this year as well. So with all that being said, if you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you can know whenever we put out a new video. And we'll see you next time.
Happy playing!